What's up guys, my name's Stephen O'Brien and I'm here on behalf of BetBright to bring you all the wildcard action of the playoffs in the NFL. This is the road to the Super Bowl. Okay guys, the first game is Chiefs versus Titans. This is the first game of the playoffs. And this is one of those games that I think there's 4 games in the playoffs this weekend, and 2 of those, I'm not going to say are gimme games because it's any given Sunday, but this is one where you can almost, foresee what the outcome is going to be. So the Chiefs have Alex Smith, and Alex Smith has had a dynamite season this season, although he has been, they have been calling for his head in Kansas, which is pretty strange because he's put up career numbers. They've called for a guy called Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes is the rookie in Kansas. He's seen as the future of the Chiefs. So along with his career year, Alex Smith, this could be his audition to get a new team or to really stick it to the fans that really don't believe in him, which sort of boggles belief because he's one of the top quarterbacks this season. He's no stranger to this type of controversy. When he was with the 49ers, they did the exact same. He got injured and then got benched for Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick brought them to the Super Bowl, and then Alex Smith had to sit on the bench and watch Beyonce turn out the lights, and then Ravens shut out the lights on the Niners that day. So this will be seen by some, and not to get too sticky with the narrative, that this might be his kind of revenge game. So the Titans, they're one of the teams along with the Buffalo Bills that really, in my opinion, shouldn't really be in the playoffs. And I know what you say, that if you make the playoffs, well then you should be in the playoffs, but I don't know if that's true. They're a 9-win team. They've lost to some pretty poor opposition, including the Cardinals, whose coach has retired and quarterback has retired. So it's a bit of a strange one, but look, the Titans are going to have to put up with a Chiefs team who are the second team in NFL history since 1981, along with the 1981 Chargers, to have a 4,000-yard passer, a 1,000-yard rusher, a 1,000-yard wide receiver, and a 1,000-yard tight end in Travis Kelce. So for me, I think this is definitely a Chiefs win. Now, let's talk about BetBright's odds. Can they cover the spread? They're currently at 8.5. What does that mean? It means that the Chiefs have to put up 8.5 points on the Titans to get the win for you to get your money. Can they do it? Well, it's a touchdown and a field goal. Yeah, I think they can do it. I don't think the Titans have the firepower, despite having a young quarterback, Marcus Mariota, to get the job done. The one thing that they have going for them is their stout run defense. Apart from that, their statistics are kind of down in the basement. So, do I think the Chiefs are going to do it? Yes, I think they are. Right, the second game I'm going to look at is Falcons-Rams. Now, this is a tasty game. You're going to have to stay up late to watch it on Saturday, but it's going to be worth the wait. So, the Rams here are a team. They're a young team. They have a young coach, Sean McVay. He's only 31, which is absolutely eye-watering. And I know people just want to, vomit uncontrollably when they hear someone that young being a head coach of a really successful NFL team. He's held all of these players to account. A team that last year, who you might have seen on the series Hard Knocks released by the NFL, they were a Jeff Fisher-led team. And there was an awful lot of embarrassing quotes that came out of that. Sean McVay's after sweeping in and doing a great job. On the opposite side, with the Atlanta Falcons, we've seen Kyle Shanahan, who was the offensive coordinator last year, work really well with Matt Ryan. There was all of this stuff on Sky about, how long the play calls were, and it really seemed like sort of a match made in heaven. He moved on and became the head coach of the 49ers, and he seems to have got his quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. And where does that leave Matt Ryan? Well, there was some dicey moments throughout the season, but Steve Sarkisian, the new offensive coordinator, really seems to have done the job here. So what does this game come down to? It comes down to a young Rams team who are really looking to make a statement in this. They've been putting up highlight reel stuff. They're kind of like the Atlanta Falcons this year as what they were last year. And then you have an Atlanta Falcons team who can be kind of sketchy and patchy throughout the season, but these are seasoned vets. They've got unbelievable talent at quarterback and wide receiver. Their running back duo are the best in the league. So it's going to come down to the young team who are naive in the playoffs versus the old season team who made it to the Super Bowl last year and got absolutely embarrassed on the world stage. What are we dealing with? We're dealing with 2 top 10 offenses. The Falcons fare a bit better on their defense. So the question really is can the Rams bring it to that game? Can the 2 offenses go head to head? But can the Falcons defense put up enough to get that stop? And that's what this comes down to. The Rams are favourites in this game. Let's have a look at the BetBright odds on the screen. We're talking 5.5 for the Rams. So what does that mean? It means that will they win by a touchdown or will they win by 2 field goals? It's hard to say. This one is won by the wire. It's one of 2 games that will come down to the wire. Personally, I think they'll do it. I think that they'll definitely notch up to 2 field goals, but this could be a dynamite game. The Rams have the ability to blow out the Falcons in this game. So if you want to put down a cheeky bet, maybe the Rams is the one to go for. Right, so the second seemingly gimme game, which I hate to say as an analyst because it'll always come back to bite you, right? But the second gimme game is the Bills at the Jags. The Jags would be seen as kind of the team that everyone wanted to face in the playoffs because of inexperience. Both of these teams haven't been to the playoffs since 1999. It's a long time coming. The Bills squeaked in solely because, other teams tanked on the final day, including the Ravens, who got bet inexplicably, as you'll see in my sort of written piece earlier in the week. That was just a crazy game, and that's how the Bills are ending up squeaking in. The Bills are the guy who overinflates his CV, who goes and does a great interview, gets into the job, and then realises he really shouldn't be there. He's the Joey Tribbiani, let's say, of the playoffs. The younger listeners probably won't know what I'm talking about. So the Bills, look, they're what are they? They're 26th ranked defense, or the 4th worst offense. Their one saving grace was LaShawn McCoy, the ageless wonder at running back. He's the guy that really propped up this team all year. I think they ranked around 6th in rushing. He went off with an ankle injury this weekend, so that really doesn't bode well for this team. Now, maybe, just maybe, and I'm not going to say this is actually going to happen, but maybe their quarterback's going to come in, who was benched throughout the year disastrously, to kind of show the organisation and show the past administrations who didn't believe in him that they can believe in him now. He's a guy called Tyrod Taylor. He's an exciting quarterback, but he can be prone to sort of errors. So he's going up against another quarterback who's had a standout season this year, someone who said that his throwing mechanics just couldn't be fixed. He seems to have done the job. However, Blake Bortles has faltered down the stretch and has been thrown a couple of interceptions, and that's worrying. The thing that's going to save the Jags in this game, and the reason that I would back the Jags in this game, and the reason why the spread is as high as it is because first off, LaShawn McCoy's injured, so the Buffalo Bills don't really have those weapons. They don't have the weapons on defense to be able to stop the Jags. And more importantly than anything else, the Jags have the 2nd ranked defense. They're young, they're hungry, but I will say that they're inexperienced. So let's see how both of these teams fare in the playoffs. And will they beat them by over a touchdown? Will they get a touchdown and a field goal? Will they notch up 3 field goals? Who knows? I think what they'll do in this game is the Jags will limit the Bills with scoring. And if they can do that and notch up a couple in spite of Blake Bortles, they'll get the job done. We've seen teams go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl in spite of the quarterback. We saw that famously with Peyton Manning. I think the Jags are going to get the job done. A team affectionately known as London's team because they come over. It's going to be exciting to watch. I think they'll make the next round of the playoffs, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so lastly for Wildcard weekend is a clanger. This is Saints at Panthers. This is on Sunday night. You're not going to have to stay up too late, but definitely one that I would advise to watch, especially if you're new to the NFL or you want to put on a few cheeky bets with BetBright. This is a rematch of the NFC South. What a division this was. So usually always you'll get the top of the division going into the playoffs. Then the 2nd ranked team can squeak in depending on what the score is and how they landed at the end of the season. The NFC South put 3 teams into the playoffs: the Atlanta Falcons, the Saints, and the Panthers. And this is a Saints-Panther matchup that the Saints really got the better of the Panthers throughout the regular season twice, and they really got the better of them pretty convincingly. So what this game is going to come down to is can Drew Brees do what Drew Brees always does? He's Mr. Reliable against Cam Newton, who's more of a live wire, where he leads the team in rushing this year. So your quarterback, when they lead the team in rushing, that's not a good thing. It's great that you have a mobile quarterback. He creates matchup issues, but it's bad that you don't have the other pieces around. Now, don't get me wrong. The Panthers have some weapons. Greg Olsen's been great when he's come back from injury. Funches, we've seen him do some great things, more particularly against my Green Bay Packers team, unfortunately. And also McCaffrey has looked pretty good at running back when he's come in. He's the rookie. So, maybe he's an untested character in this sort of saga. But can they beat them for a 3rd time in a row? Who knows? There's a lot of stats out there to say that they will, but it's a pretty difficult thing to do because when you get waxed twice by a team, you usually have it figured out how they're going to game plan for you. I don't expect that to happen in this game, however. I think the Saints will get the better. They're a pretty dangerous team down the stretch. They're a seasoned and experienced team. We have a Panthers team who's sort of suffering the hangover of a pretty grisly loss a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl also. The Saints as well, they've lost 5 times this season, and 4 of those games are to teams that are in the playoffs. So the only way that you can beat the Saints is if you're very, very good. Now, my only concern is that the Saints recently lost to the Bucs. They're playing a strong enough team, and their defense is ranked as 17th. They're young, they're inexperienced. Can they put it up to Cam Newton again? Who knows? Now, the spread on this game is 6.5. What does that mean? Well, 6.5 is a touchdown. So do you think the Saints are going to beat the Panthers by a touchdown? I definitely think they will. I mean, they waxed them earlier on in the season, but can the Panthers get their own back when it matters? that remains to be seen. My Packers team did it. We got into the we didn't get into the Super Bowl. We got into the playoffs last year. We got trounced by the Cowboys in the regular season and came back and caused an upset for the ages and bet Dak and Zeke in the playoffs. It can be done. Will they cover the spread? I think they will. Right, guys, so there are my picks for Wildcard weekend. Either way, it's going to be a great round of football. It's win or go home. Always exciting. Check in again to see how that went in my Good, the Bad, the Ugly piece, which is going to be released on the BetBright blog on Tuesday. See you then.